Start, sir.
Hello. Good evening to everybody. I welcome to the webinar organized by GSTPM on the subject of recent amendment under GST. And the speaker is CA Ashit Shah. Now I request Advocate Sejal Shah to introduce Ashit Shah. Over to Sejal.
Yeah, good evening everyone. Today amongst us we have a very humble personality on this topic who is such a brilliant speaker, and yet he says that he is still learning. So today we have founder partner of Mehta & Shah, a chartered accountancy firm engaged in providing services in the area of taxation, advisory and accounting in the area of direct and indirect taxes. He has an experience of 22 years in the practice of taxation, and in the last 1 decade, he is involved with knowledge sharing throughout the country by delivery of lectures organized by renowned professional bodies like the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Chamber of Tax, Bombay Chartered Accountants Society, and our own GSTPM, All India Federation of Tax Practitioners Association, and Regional Training Institute of Controller and General of India, Mumbai. He is also sharing knowledge by contributing column and articles in the monthly publications published by the Chamber of Tax Consultants and the GSTPM. He is also engaged in providing consultancy and training to corporates in compliance and restructuring of transactions. He is one of the contributors to Referencer every year published by the GSTPM. Ashit Bhai is also awarded the Best Column Writer for the year 2016-17 in the monthly magazine published by GSTPM, earlier known as the Sale Tax Practitioners Association of Maharashtra. He is also a co-author of book on Guide to Annual Return and GST Audit published by Western India Regional Council of ICAI in the year 1920, and a co-author of book on Sabka Vishwas, Legacy Dispute Resolution Scheme 2019 published by Western India Regional Council of ICAI in the year 1920. So let us welcome CA Ashit Shah on this topic. The floor is all yours, Ashit Bhai.
Yeah, thank you, Sejal, for giving me the good and fine words. I don't know whether I'm deserving this the kind of introduction or not, but let's see. And yeah, now coming to the subject proper, first of all, good evening to all of you and namaskar. I hope everyone is at home and in a safe condition and a good mood, because that is what required nowadays. We are in this lockdown condition from last 30 days, and it requires a great courage, because the Mumbaikars are never used to being at home except on Sundays and holidays. Otherwise, they are always on the move. Now, coming to the subject proper, today I will discuss and throw some light on the recent amendments under the GST. Whenever I have been asked to speak on the recent amendments, then I have to draw the boundary that what should I speak in these recent amendments. Friends, all of you are aware that in the last 2 years, you must be witnessing that there are many changes are there under the GST. Many notifications are coming, and that notifications comes in tranches. That means say minimum 8 to 10 notifications comes at a time. Over and above notifications, some clarification circulars are also issued, and on the top of it, some clarifications under the excise or customs law also come as far as the GST refund is concerned. And so we have to keep a track of everything, otherwise it would be very difficult to understand the topic. So in this GST recent amendment, what I have decided that I will take the couple of amendments which were there under which has been issued for the relaxations under this COVID period, COVID 2019. Then which are then other amendments which has come very recently in the month of April and which are very much useful in our day-to-day practice. That amendment I will take up within the time which is allotted to me. So now let's come to the first amendment. Relief measures under GST due to COVID 2019. Friends, since because of this lockdown condition of 30 days, there were a lot of problems which were we facing, because there are certain deadlines which has to be made in the GST law. It may be that the officer has to issue certain notices or complete certain assessment, or from the taxpayer's perspective, they have to file the return, and which date falls within this lockdown period, and hence that extension is required. But how to do the extension? So for that matter, power has been acquired by inserting section 168(a) into the GST law by the Taxation and Other Laws Relaxation of Certain Provisions Ordinance 2020 dated 31st March 2020. The President of India has promulgated this Ordinance 2020 at midnight 11 o'clock. And if this ordinance has been passed, because if it doesn't do on that day, then probably the year would have completed, and therefore probably some other problems which could have done, and therefore this ordinance has came into the light in the midnight 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock. Now what this ordinance says, that they have acquired the power to insert section 168 into the CGST Act. So now let us first understand what this section is, 168A. That section says that they have acquired the power to extend the time limit which is specified or prescribed or notified under this act. Under this act means GST Act, in respect of certain actions which is required, which is not completed or complied with due to force majeure. Now this term force majeure, now every one of us are aware about this term force majeure. I recollect that whenever I used to read certain commercial agreements between two parties, this kind of clause are always there, which is known as a force majeure. But otherwise, we never come across what we mean by force majeure, and that's why it has been defined in section 168A, what we mean by force majeure. And it says that it is defined as a case of war, epidemic, flood, drought, fire, cyclone, earthquake, or any other calamity caused by nature or otherwise affecting the implementation of any provisions of this act. That means अगर कोई भी provisions of this act के लिए ये बंधन करता है, बाधा रूपता है, बाधा कारक है, then there has to be some provision and to provide some relaxation. Now, what is that? Now, before that, one very important thing which we have, all of us has to keep it in mind, that whatever provisions has been proposed in the ordinance, that has to be passed by both the houses, that means Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, within 6 weeks. Within 6 weeks. If it doesn't pass, then it doesn't become an act, and the provisions which were there in the ordinance, that would not be applicable. So we have to keep it in mind that this ordinance get passed within 6 months. Normally, it every time it passes only. I have never come across a situation where it doesn't passes, because the person who passes doesn't very much interested in not passing this kind of ordinance. Now let us understand what this how the provisions will take place. Now the government, in order to give the relaxation, they have issued one notification which is known as section, the notification number 35/2020. What this notification says, that if any time limit for completion or compliance of any action by any authority or by any person which has been specified or prescribed or notified under this act, and which falls within the date 20th March 20 to 29 June 2020, and where the completion or compliance of such action has not been made within such time. That means अगर आपका कोई compliance की due date या completion of period की due date falls between 20th March 20 to 29 June 2020, और अगर वो comply नहीं हुई है due to this lockdown condition, then they say that then in that respect all these due dates which is covered within the date 20th March to 29 June will be extended to the 30th June 2020, right? So now कौन सा ये है? So now there are two kinds of completion and compliance. completion is from the perspective of department. What kind of completion? If they have to complete any proceedings of by passing any order or by issuance of any notice or any intimation or a notification or sanction or approval of or such any other action from the perspective of department, which falls due within the period 20th March 20 to 29 June 2020, उनको ये 30th June तक 20 तक हो जा डेट एक्सटेंड हो जाएगी. That means suppose if they have to complete any assessment which falls due on 31st March 2020, then automatically, since this could not be completed because of this lockdown condition, then that they have to get the time till 30th June 2020. If any refund application has to be sanctioned, you know that refund application has to be sanctioned within 7 days, and if that could not have happened, then again the time limit would be extended till 30th June 2020. Now let us come to from the taxpayer's perspective. The taxpayer has to file any appeal. Appeal has to be filed within 2 months from the date of passing of the order, or they have to apply for the refund application, or they have to furnish any report or document or return which falls between the due date 20th March 2020 to 29 June 2020. So sabhi ki due date has been extended to 30th June 2020. Now let's come to the some exception. You know that whenever certain relaxation has been provided, वो आप हर एक एडवर्टीजमेंट जब भी आती है तो वहाँ एक छोटा सा स्टार मार्क रहता है. जब भी आप मॉल में गए हैं, मॉल आपको सबको याद है ना, पहले तो सबको याद रहता था, लेकिन ये अगर 30 दिन में भूल गए हैं तो मॉल नाम की एक चीज रहती है जहाँ एवरीवन वुड लव टू गो एंड शॉप फ्रॉम देयर. वहाँ बड़े बड़े होर्डिंग्स में लिखा रहता है 50% डिस्काउंट, तो 60% डिस्काउंट, और नीचे एक एस्ट्रिक मार्क रहता है which says कंडीशन अप्लाई. यहाँ भी ये नोटिफिकेशन में कंडीशन अप्लाई है that this notification or extension of time limit which has been prescribed till 30th June 2020 will not be applicable in respect of certain activities. So let us see which are those activities. First, time and value of supply, that means section 12 to section 15. That means time means at what point of time my tax liability triggered, what would be my value of supply, और उसके लिए कोई time limit नहीं है, तो बोलता है then this time limit of 30th June will not be applicable. Second one is composition scheme, which lapses once the turnover exceeds the time limit specified in section 10(1) or 10(2)(a). Now you know that the person who is under a composition scheme, if his turnover exceeds the prescribed limit, which is at present 1.5 crore, then he has to take the registration under as a normal taxpayer. That means as a normal taxpayer के हिसाब से tax file करना है, and then he has to file an intimation. Now if that turnover exceeds, then no one can stop them कि भाई आप intimation नहीं दे सकते हैं. So that's why there is no time limit which has been prescribed. Then procedure for registration. This is a procedure which is purely a web-based application. So the procedure of registration, this time limit will not be applicable. Registration procedure for casual taxable person and non-taxable and non-resident taxable person. Issuance of tax invoice. Now you know that the tax invoice is to be issued in respect when the goods are supplied. It has to be at the time of supply of goods or on or before or after the issue goods are delivered. In respect of supply of services, tax invoice has to be issued within 30 days. However, certain exceptions are there. Now, if that 30 days falls within this date, 22nd March 2020 to 29 June 2020, then they say no, then this time limit will not be applicable और आपको tax invoice issue कर ही देना है within 30 days. So that means lockdown है, so you cannot take a plea that how can I issue the tax invoice. Then furnishing of details of outward supply. Outward supply का कहाँ पर हम return file करते हैं? GSTR1. So that there is no extension of time limit for filing outward supply. That means GSTR1. Levy of late fees, interest on delayed payment of tax, power to arrest, liability of partners or firms to pay tax, penalty for certain offences, detention, seizure and release of goods and conveyances in transit. So this is in respect of e-way bill. Suppose you know that there has to be all proper documents has to be there with the conveyance. Otherwise, the goods may be detained or seized. The vehicle may be seized. Then in that respect, it says that time limit will not be applicable. Then furnishing of return under section 39, that means जो हम 3B भरते हैं उसके लिए भी कोई time limit applicable नहीं है. However, it says that time limit will be applicable in respect of three category of taxpayers. Number one, the person who is required to file the return under section 51, that means TDS holder. Taxable person who is required to file return as an input service distributor, and number three, taxable person who is non-resident person. So ये तीनों टाइप की ये जो taxable person है उनके लिए time limit has been provided as 30th June 2020. Then last one is the inspection of goods in movement so far as e-way bill is concerned. Now this is very important. What it says, inspection of goods, that means yes, they can have all the right if during this lockdown period or if between this date, if there is a movement of goods, then the authority has all the power to inspect the goods while they are in movement. Then next is the validity of e-way bill. Now what is the validity of e-way bill? Section 138(10) provides that whenever the goods has been dispatched for transport in transport from one place to another, the goods has to be reached to the final destination within the prescribed time limit which has been provided under section 138(10). What is the time limit? It says that if the distance is less than 100 kilometers, within 1 day that goods or a vehicle has to reach to the destination. If the distance is between 100 kilometers to 300 kilometers, vehicle has to be reached within 3 days. And if it is 1000 kilometers or more, then it has to be reached within 15 days. Now, what will happen? Because of the sudden close down, it may so happen that the movement of the goods has start from 20th March 2020. And due to some this reason of lockdown, the movement doesn't happens to be completed within the time limit which has been prescribed under section 138(10). That means suppose यहाँ से मेरा goods पुणे जा रहा है और बीच में ही lockdown की वजह से that truck has not taken place the movement. So it cannot naturally move reach within 1 day. So now what is to be done? So now therefore a relaxation has been provided that whenever there is a period of expiry falls between 20th March 2020 to 15th April 2020, then it says that goods has to be deemed to have been extended till 30th April 2020. That means e-way bill की validity has been extended till 30th April 2020. So अगर आपका goods between 20th March to 15th April तक अगर गया है उसमें तो वो goods आपका 30 अप्रैल तक पहुंच जाना चाहिए. That is what has been provided as a relaxation provision. Now let us see the compliance returns. Compliance in filing the returns. Now, as I have said that while extending the period of extending the many relaxations, the period due date of filing of return has not been extended. That means the return which is required to be filed under the GST law, namely GSTR 3B and 1, has not been extended for the month of February 20, March 20, and April 20. So we will be very much keep it in mind that for this 3 months date has not been extended. Right. However, the due date is extended only from the perspective of calculation of interest and levy of late filing fees. You know that if you file your return late, now that means say for example February 20 का 3B का last date क्या था 20th March 20. Now on 20th March 20 से तो तुरंत लॉकडाउन 22nd मार्च से चालू हो गया था. एंड इफ ड्यू टू दैट रीजन इफ द टैक्स पेयर डजंट हैपेंस टू फाइल इट, तो उसको क्या लग जाएगा, इंटरेस्ट लग जाएगा 18% के हिसाब से और लेट फाइलिंग फीस भी लग जाएगी उसको. So to give the relaxation, they have said that okay, now what we are doing, we are giving the relaxation in charging the interest and levy of late filing fees. How it operates, let's see this. तो सबसे पहले देखते हैं 3B, सबसे important. Now for filing the GSTR 3B, the taxpayers are divided. Taxpayers are divided into three categories, based on the turnover. So if the taxable person's turnover, that means the aggregate turnover exceeds ₹5 crore and above in the preceding financial year, then what are their due dates? Let us see. Now here which turnover one needs to consider. For the month of February and March 20, aggregate turnover of financial year 18-19 has to be considered because we are filing the return for 19-20. For the period April 2020, turnover of 1920 has to be considered to determine the turnover of 5 crores, and it's a monthly periodicity or a periodicity of filing return. Now, first of all, see February 2020. Everyone knows the due date of filing of return was 20th March 2020. Now the due date has not been extended, but now what it says that yes, we will give you the relaxation in payment in the rate of interest. So it says that the extended date for interest is 24th June 2020. That so interest is, yes, relaxation has been provided. So what is the relaxation? It says concessional rate of interest would be chargeable at the rate of 9% from the due date of payment. Now you know that normally the rate of interest is 18%, but now they are saying we will charge you 9%. Over and above that, what they are saying that we will give you the concession of 15 days. We will not charge you any interest for first 15 days, and interest would be charged from the 16 days onward. So in this example, 20th March, if we will take, then the first 15 days would be 5th of April 2020. कहाँ तक कोई इंटरेस्ट चार्ज नहीं करेंगे. After 5th April 2020, my interest at the rate of 9% will charge. However, the last date is 24th June 2020, so I have to file my return and make the payment of tax before 24th June 2020. Then comes the late fees. Let's see what is the favor benefit under the late fees. It says amount of late fees would be waived. No late fees would be payable. Right now, what are the late fees? The late fees at present is if there is a nil return, then INR 20 rupees is the late filing fees. Other than nil return, INR is 50 rupees is the late filing fees, and maximum 10,000 rupees is the late filing fees. This has been notified in notification number 64/2017. Originally in section 47, the late filing fees is 100 rupees per day. Right. Now, so the important thing over here is that you have to, there is no extension of due date. The return has to be filed within this due date. Relaxation has been provided in respect of interest only. For the first 15 days, no interest would be charged. Later on, 9% interest will be charged, and that you have to file the return and pay the tax by 24th June 2020. If you pay the tax after 24th June 2020, then what will happen? Normal rate of interest of 18% would be levied, and normal late filing fees would be leviable. Now let us say in the month of March 20, what is the position? Due date of filing of return is 20th April 2020. Extended date is 24th June 2020. In the month of April, 20th May and 24th June 2020. Now let's come to the month of May 2020. In the month of May 2020, the original due date was 20th June 2020. Extended date, yes, they have extended the date of filing of return. Here the date of last date is 27th June 2020. If you file any return after 27th June 2020, then you will have to pay the normal rate of interest and normal late filing fees, which will be payable. So only the extension of the due date in filing 3B return is for the month of May 2020 and not for the month of February, March and April. So we have to advise our client that please make the payment of tax within the due date, that is 24th June 2020, if they are above 5 crore rupees, and for the month of Feb, March and April. Now, one important thing over here. It says that this due date is not applicable for the return which has to be filed under section 39, that means 3B, that relief provision. Otherwise, the date was 30th June 2020. Here they are giving the date 24th June 2020. So what is the difference? Only 1 week difference is there. Then why such goof-ups are created? I fail to understand why such kind of provisions are there, because now how much different kinds of due dates one has to keep it in mind. But this is law, we have to abide by it. Now let us try to understand how the interest will work out. I will try given you in this sheet. Now I have taken a period that this return is due for the month of March 2020. So for the month of March 2020, my due date falls on 20th April 2020. Right. Now actual date of filing of return for the month of March 20 is 2nd May 2020. Okay. So that is the date when I have filed my return. So there is a delay in how many months months has been delayed? 11 months are delayed. So now I have to see the condition. Whether condition for concessional rate of interest is complied with? Yes, because my returns has been filed before 24th June 2020. So I am eligible for the concession rate. What is the concession? Concession rate, first concession, nil rate of nil interest if it has been filed within 15 days. Yes, I have filed within 15 days. On the 11th day I have filed. So no interest. Late filing fees, there is a complete waiver of late filing fees. Now let us consider a second situation. If I have filed my return on 20th May 2020. So now how much is the delay? 30 days are delayed. Condition, now we have to check whether condition for concessional rate of interest is complied with. Yes, I have complied it because I have filed my return within the due date of 24th June 2020. But now I have to see what kind of benefit or relaxation in the interest. So says for first 15 days, nil rate of tax. So nil rate. Then after 15 days, what will be the rate of interest? 9% interest rate for 15 days. That is from 6th May 2020 to 20th May 2020. And there is a waiver of the late filing fees. Excellent. Then suppose if I filed on 20th June 2020, so there is a delay of 61 days. Here also I have complied with the condition of concessional rate of interest in the 20, if I filed on 20th June or 24th June, yeah, I have been within the due date time limit. So my relaxation in interest is for the first 15 days I don't have to pay interest. After that 15 days, my interest rate would be 9%, and there is complete waiver of late filing fees. Now let us take the example of the last example. I have filed my return on 30th June 2020. Then there would be a total delay of 71 days. Condition for the concessional rate of interest? No, I have not complied with the concessional rate of interest because it has to be filed within 24th June. Here I have filed on 30th June, so I am not eligible for concessional rate of interest. So full rate of interest I am eligible. I have to pay 18% for 71 days. And late filing fees, there will be waiver. No waiver of late filing fees because I have not complied with it. So this is how you have to compute the interest liability. Now, again, every one of us has to prepare a tabular manner that how this interest and late filing fees has to be computed, because the government and also how the GST and portal will compute all these things. That is also a question, and whether it will compute properly or not, or we have to face with the another bunch of notices that only time will tell. Now let us go to another category of taxpayer under 3B. It says taxpayers having an aggregate turnover of more than 1.5 crore but less than 5 crores in the preceding financial year. Now you know that in respect of this class of category, it has been again segregated into two parts, because on the last day 20th April there were too much rush on the GST and portal doesn't work. वो message आ जाता था you are in a queue because more taxpayers has been logged in. Therefore the GSTN has come out with a solution that they have divided all these SSCs below 5 crore into two parts. They were divided on the basis of states now. In respect of certain category of states, the due date has been considered as a 22nd day after the end of the month. And in respect of another tranche of state, it has been 24. Therefore, if you will see that now three due dates are concerned, turnover for 3B, turnover more than 5 crore rupees, 28th, then turnover below 5 crore rupees, 2 dates. For certain states, it's 22nd, and for other states, it's 24th. So this is the provision, and which has been notified on 7th of 7 notification number 7/2020, which has been issued on 3rd February 2020. यहाँ भी देखते हैं February month का ड्यू डेट क्या हो जाएगी, 22nd और 24th March, based on the state in which that taxpayer is having his registered place of business. यहाँ उन्होंने इंटरेस्ट का वेवर कैसे किया है, जैसे says that this return along with tax has to be paid on or before 29th June 2020, then only you are eligible for the relaxation in interest and late filing fees. So what is the late filing interest? It says interest would not be charged if the returns are filed within the respective due date. That means अगर आपने के SSC 5 crores के नीचे turnover है, that means more than 1.5 crore and less than 5 and up to 5 crore, और आपने रिटर्न 29 जून 2020 के पहले भर दिया है फॉर द मंथ ऑफ February एंड मार्च, देन आपको कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं लगेगा. And further, what about late filing fees? Late filing fees is also exempted. You did not have to pay. Now let's come to the for the month of April 2020. April 2020 में क्या दिया है? Last date is 30th June 2020. तो इंटरेस्ट आपको नहीं लगेगा और लेट फाइलिंग फीस भी waived है. Now let's come to the May 2020. May 2020, yes, यहाँ the date of filing of 3B has been extended. Original due date was 22nd or 24th June 2020. Extended date is 12th or 14th July 2020. So if you file your return 3B between 12 or 14 July 2020, then in that respect interest will not be applicable. But if you file at a later date after 12 or 14, the normal rate of interest 18% would be applicable, or late and normal late filing fees would be applicable, which is 20 rupees or 50 rupees depending upon the class of return which you are supposed to file. Now this has been by way of a notification number 31/2020. Now let's come to the third class of the 3B return, not third class, it is the third category of return. Now it says the taxpayers having an aggregate turnover up to INR 1.5 crore in the preceding financial year. Now ये तीसरी category, this is one more category which has been introduced from this date. I have till today no such kind of classification was there, but in only in this notification number 31, this third category has been introduced for charging the interest. This is also the funniest part. So अपने देश में सारे लोगों को और टैक्स पे लोगों को भी डिवाइड कर दिया है बेस्ड ऑन द कास्ट, क्रीड, रिलीजन, सेक्स, और यहाँ भी ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ टर्नओवर and category of person, that categories of persons has been categorized. Now देखते हैं ड्यू डेट्स क्या है और इंटरेस्ट रिलैक्सेशन, इंटरेस्ट एंड लॉट फाइलिंग फीस रिलैक्सेशन क्या है. So here it says that if you for the month of February and March and April, your normal due date would be applicable, that is 22nd March, 22nd April, 22nd May. This date you have to file the return by 30th June 2020 for the month of February 20. If you file it within the 30th June 2020, then there is a complete waiver of interest. No interest would be chargeable, and there would be a complete waiver of late filing fees if you charge by 30th June. March 20 का रिटर्न आपको 3rd July 2020 तक फाइल कर देना है, then there won't be charge any interest and late filing fees. April 20 का रिटर्न आपको 6 जुलाई तक फाइल कर देना है. Now for the month of May 2020, for the month of May 2020, again here the date has been extended, and the extended date is 12th or 14th of July 2020 based on the state in which the taxpayer is having his registered place of business. So if any person, taxable person, files returns after this due date, then the normal rate of interest and late filing fees would be applicable. So this is as far as the return GSTR 3B is concerned. Now let's go to the another return is GSTR 1 return. That means details of outward taxable supply. Now here also GSTR 1 is divided into two category of persons: turnover up to 1.5 crores and turnover more than 1.5 crores. First of all, we will see turnover up to 1.5 crore. Now you know that this kind of person is required to file their quarterly return. Okay? Now this quarterly return, that means quarter ended March 2020. That due date is 30th April 2020, and this due date वहां हमने देखा इसमें कोई रिलैक्सेशन नहीं है, तो यहाँ उनको डेट क्या आ गई 30th June 2020 आ गई है. 10, that is notification number 35. Is there any interest is there while filing GSTR1 return? No, GSTR1 के लिए कोई interest नहीं है, इसलिए वहाँ कुछ नहीं है. Then what about the late filing fees? Yes, there would be a relaxation in the late filing fees. No waiver, no late fees needs to be payable if you file your return by 30th June 2020. For quarter ended June 2020, your last date is 31st July 2020, and for quarter ended September 2020, it is 31st October 2020. This is the extension of the date, and this has been notified in notification number 27/2020. So if you file your return after this due date, then in that respect, your normal rate of interest and late filing fees would be applicable. Now let's talk about a turnover of more than 1.5 crore. More than 1.5 crore rupees turnover के लिए what is the criteria? They have to file monthly returns. They have to file. So for the period March 2020, the due date was 11th April 2020. Extended date for the interest and late fees is 30th June 2020. And since for GSTR1 there is no interest is there, so there is no need for any relaxation. Late filing fees, yes, it is a waiver of late filing fees if you can if you file with by the prescribed due date, that is 30th June 2020. For the month of April 20 and May 20 also, the last date is 30th June 2020. Now here you have marked one place saying why the month of February 2020 is not there, which was there in 3B. It is not there, it is not required because February 2020's last date was 11th of March 2020, and on 11th March 2020 there was no COVID problem was there, and therefore that compliance has already been made. Therefore there is no relaxation of late filing fees. Provision has been made for the month of February 2020. Now let's come to the other returns. Other returns CMP2. This is in respect of the composition tax per person who is paying discharging the tax liability under composition scheme, as well as those taxpayers who have opted to pay the tax at a reduced rate of tax under notification number 2/2019. So बहुत एक प्रकार के class of taxpayers are there who has opted to pay tax at a 6% rate, 3% CGST and 3% SGST. If their turnover is up to 50 lakhs rupees, then they can opt for this scheme and discharge the tax liability in this manner. So for these two category of persons, first of all, they have to file CMP2. What is this CMP2? This is the option out for the composition scheme. Now, I'm for the sake of convenience for both these taxpayers scheme, I'm consider them as a composition scheme, right? So for this composition scheme, they have to opt out under the CMP2 form number CMP2. This form has to be filed for the period 2021 by 31st March 2020 before the commencement of the financial year. One has to opt with that whether they wanted to do the go for the composition scheme or not. यहाँ 31st March 2020 थी, so हमें notification number 35 देखना है. वहाँ था कि yes, this year extension of the scheme is applicable to this kind of person. So उनके लिए since this falls between 22nd March 20 to 29 June, तो उसकी automatically due date is 30th June 2020 आ गई है. This is by way of notification number 35. Then composition taxpayer has to again do one thing. They have to make the payment of tax and file the return. And they have to file quarterly return. So quarter ended March 20, उनकी last date थी 18th April 2020. So that date has been extended till 7th of July 2020. This is by way of a notification number 34/2020. Then this kind of composition period person, taxable person has to also file annual return. This annual return for the financial year 1920 has to be discharged by 30th April 2020. और उसको उन्होंने बढ़ा के कहाँ तक कर दिया है? By 15 July, and that is by way of a notification number 34/2020. Then one more thing with this taxable person has to do is that they have to, once they will say for example if a person is under the normal scheme, then in till 31st March 2020, In 2020-21, he feels that I have to opt for a composition scheme since my turnover is less than 1.5 crore. So let me opt for a composition scheme. And so he's decided that I will go for a composition scheme. Now, if we go for a composition scheme, then in that respect, he has to reverse the ITC input tax credit which is there in their stock. That means input which is contained in their inputs is contained in their finished stock, semi-finished goods and the working in semi-finished goods and finished goods. तो वो उनको reverse करनी पड़ेगी. So that for that reversal, the due date is 31st May 2020 by filling form number ITC 03. तो उसकी डेट बढ़ाकर कहाँ कर दी 31st July 2020 by way of a notification number 30/2020. So the person who is under composition scheme, they have to file CMP 02, CMP 08, GSTR 4 and ITC 03 if he is shifting from normal taxable person to composition person. So these are the compliance which needs to be it falls between 22nd March 20 to 30th June 2020. कि यहाँ तक इतने फॉर्म्स नहीं है और आगे भी फॉर्म्स है. चलो देखते हैं उनकी ड्यू डेट भी क्या है. जीएसटी में खाली जीएसटीआर 1 और 3 भी नहीं है, बहुत सारे फॉर्म है, राइट. तो वो आज हमें देखने को मिलेंगे और उसकी ड्यू डेट भी हमें पता करनी रहेगी. Now GSTR 5. GSTR 5 has to be filed by whom? By a non-resident taxable person. Non-resident taxable person को रिटर्न कभी फाइल करना है? Periodical return फाइल, monthly रिटर्न फाइल करना है. So February month का रिटर्न कभी फाइल करना है? Next within the 20th of the next month. So 20th March, March 20 का 20th April, April का 20th May, May 20 का 20th June 2020. Now we have seen in that notification 35 that this exclusion clause is not applicable to the person non-resident taxable person. तो उसको ये benefit that means कि available है. That means उनकी लास्ट डेट हो जाएगी 30th June 2020. तो ये सारे रिटर्न है फरवरी, मार्च, अप्रैल और मई के, उनकी ड्यू डेट हो जाएगी 30th June 2020. So if they file their return before this 30th June 2020 and discharge the tax liability, then in that case there would be no interest and late filing fees. However, if they do it after 30th June, normal rate of interest of 18% would be applicable and normal late filing fees would be applicable. So in other words, there is no relaxation of interest or late filing fees. अभी दूसरा क्वेश्चन हो कि इनका लेट फाइलिंग फीस क्या है? सेम है जो जीएसटीआर 1 और 3B के लिए है. ऑब्वियस रिप्लाई है नो. उनके लिए आपको सेक्शन 47 में जाना पड़ेगा और बता रहा है लेट फाइलिंग फीस है 200 रुपया पर डे एंड मैक्सिमम 10,000 रुपीज. ये उनकी लेट फाइलिंग फीस है 200 रुपया पर डे, विच इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द जीएसटीआर 1 एंड 3B. तो ये हमने देख लिया GSTR 5 return to be filed by the non-resident taxable person. अभी आ जाते सेकंड अदर क्लास ऑफ taxable person is input service distributor. Input service distributor is a person who is merely distribute the credit between the same offices but having in a different location, right? So उनको भी रिटर्न कभी फाइल करना है, उनको मंथली रिटर्न फाइल करना है. That means मार्च, अप्रैल और मई की ड्यू डेट हो जाएगी 13th April, 30th May और 30th June 2020. Since this exemption relaxation provisions has been covered to applicable to this input service distributor, therefore the due date of filing of their return falls on 30th June 2020. So if they file the return by 30th June 2020, they need not have to pay any interest or late filing fees. But otherwise they have to pay the normal rate of interest and late filing fees. मैंने आपको बता दी यहाँ पे late filing fees है 200 rupees per day delay in payment of tax and filing of return. So this is as regards the and this has been given in notification number 35/2020. So इनके लिए भी no relaxation in interest and late filing fees as far as the input service distributor is concerned. Next class of category of person is the tax person who is required to register to deduct the tax deduction at source. जैसे इनकम टैक्स में टैक्स डिडक्शन एट सोर्स है, वैसे ही यहाँ जीएसटी में भी टैक्स डिडक्शन एट सोर्स है. So who is to required to deduct the tax at source? So section 51 says that any department or establishment of central government, state government or local authority or a said government agency or other such person or category of persons notified if they have to deduct the tax at the rate of 2% from the payment made to or credited to the supplier on a taxable goods or services, supply of service goods or services both, where the total value of such supply under a contract exceeds 2.5 lakhs rupees. That means अगर एक contract है जिसकी value 2.5 lakhs rupees से ज़्यादा है and the services has been provided to a government department or a establishment or a central government or a state government or a government agency or a local authority, then in that respect, the tax has to be deducted by the government at the rate of 2% while making the payment to the supplier. अभी ये पेमेंट कभी डिडक्ट करना है बिफोर द 10th of the next month. So for the month of March, April and May, the due date of deduction of tax at the source and depositing into the government treasury is 10th April, 10th May or 10th June. उसकी लास्ट डेट हो जाएगी 30th June 2020 till 30th June 2020. They are not required to pay any interest or late filing fees. But if they are failed to deduct and tax, deposit the tax into the government treasury, then in that respect there would be a late filing fee, which is rupees 200 rupees per day and maximum 10,000 rupees is the late filing fee. So this is as regard the tax deducted at source. जैसे टैक्स डिडक्टेड एट सोर्स था वैसे ही टैक्स कलेक्टेड एट सोर्स है. This tax collected at source, that is to be taxed by this TCS has to be by e-commerce operator. Now, who is e-commerce operator? It says every electronic commerce operator, not being an agent, shall collect an amount not exceeding 2% of the net value of taxable supply made through the suppliers, where the consideration with respect to such supplies to be collected by the operator. That means first of all he has to be electronic commerce operator. He is the agent, he is not merely an agent. He is responsible to collect the money on behalf of supplier. So at the time of remitting the money, he will collect the tax at source from that supplier and deposit into the government treasury. So if this tax collection at source has been done before 30th June 2020, then in that respect, no interest and late filing fees would be applicable. But if it is done later on, then naturally late filing fees would be applicable at the rate of 200 rupees per day and maximum 10,000 rupees. So obviously, just like a input service distributor or a non-resident taxable person or a tax deducted at source, यहाँ भी उनको no relaxation in interest and late filing fees is provided. Then next is the online information and database retrieval of information, जिसको कहते हैं OIDAR. That is Rule 64 of the CGST rules. These persons also are required to file the monthly return, and this returns needs to be discharged by the 20th of the next month. That means for the period February, March, April and May, the due date for filing is 20th March, 20th April, 20th May and 20th June 2020. And the due date is 30th June 2020. Needless to say, if you file your return of GSTR 5A after 30th June 2020, then normal rate of interest and late filing fees would be provided. So this is as regards the compliance which every taxpayer needs to comply while filing the returns. Now looking at to this due dates and the last date, now it becomes very much important that we should have a good planner, so that all these due dates needs to be put in over there, and we have to intimate to our client that, sir, this is your due date and you have to pay the tax, otherwise unnecessarily you will be penalized by way of filing paying interest at a higher rate and by way of a late filing fees. So you should have to use the proper calendar which gives you a proper update that this is the due date of filing of the returns. Now, after doing that due date of filing of returns and the relaxation in interest and waiver of late filing fees, let us now come to restrictions or another provisions or relaxation in respect of Rule 36(4). This Rule 36(4), which has been introduced from 9th October 2019, has made the tax consultant's task as well as the taxpayer's task at a toss. Why? Prior to 9th October 2019, whenever a taxable person procures the goods or services from his vendor, immediately what he will take? He will take his credit while filing the 3B, irrespective of the fact whether his vendor has filed the return or not. So there was no such need. One has to take the credit whenever he is having proper invoice with him and he has recorded in his books of account, so that he will take the input tax credit in his account. In 9th October 2019, government has introduced inserted new provision, section rule 36(4) in section 16(4). What 36(4) says that while claiming the input tax credit, the registered person has to see that the details of the outward supply has been filed by his vendor, so that it will be reflected in his 2A after the 10th of the every month. You know that GSTR1 has to be filed by the 10th of the next month. So for example, February 20 का return है वो 10th March 2020 तक सारे SSCs भर देंगे. So if I have purchased the goods from Hiral, then in that respect, Hiral will file the GSTR1 by 10th of March 2020. So on 11th March 2020, I could able to see my GSTR2 and check whether Hiral has really filed his return of outward supply. If that is shown in my GSTR2A, then I can take that much of credit for sure. The law that further provides that you can take the credit as per GSTR2A plus 20% of that eligible of the amount which is shown in the GSTR2A. तो आप क्या कर सकते थे? From 9th October 2019 आपका GSTR2A में जितनी भी क्रेडिट दिख रही है plus 20% of the eligible credit, you can avail the credit while filing the 3B return. However, now why this kind of provision has been incorporated? It has been observed by the department that lot many misuse of the ITC has been carried out by the taxpayers. Lot of hawala dealers has been caught up by passing the credits without issuance, without passing of the goods or services, and therefore they have said that now let us introduce this concept that the person should file the return GSTR1 and then only he or she would be eligible to take the credit in his return. Now this provision was further amended on by 1st January 2017 by issuance of notification number 75/2020. What it says that now instead of 20% GSTR2A plus 20%, now you have to take 2A GSTR2A plus 10%. That means suppose मेरे GSTR2 में 1 लाख रुपीस की eligible credit दिख रही है, then in that respect I am eligible to take 1 lakh plus 10% of that, that means 10,000 rupees. So 1 lakh 10,000 की credit ले सकता हूँ. This provision was applicable from 1st January 2020. Now relaxation provision. Because of this COVID provision, there would be a lot. Now I will show you the real picture of this so that for the benefit of all. What it says that amount reflected in GSTR2A was 50,000 rupees. Ineligible amount from 2A was 5,000 rupees. So eligible amount reflected in 2A is 45,000. So I am eligible for 45,000 rupees. After from 1st January 2020, 10% has been provided of the eligible amount reflected in 2A. So 45,000 ka 10% would be 4,500 rupees. So I am eligible to take credit of 45,000 rupees. I am not eligible to take the credit of 50,000 rupees, which is reflected in my 2A, because it is not my eligible. And suppose in my books of account, if it is 1 lakh rupees, then I am eligible to take the credit in 3B only to the extent of 49,500 rupees. 45,000 plus 4,500 equal to 49,500. This provision was there as of today. Now what are the relaxation provision which has been provided because of this COVID? Now the government says that chalo, now let us do one thing. Since there would be a cash crunch for everyone, so what we are doing, that for the month of February to August 2020 आपको जितनी भी अमाउंट बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट में दिखती है उतनी क्रेडिट आप ले लो, irrespective of the fact whether that amount is reflected in your 2A. तो आपको ये अभी एक्सरसाइज अभी नहीं करनी है for the while filing the return for the month of February to August 2020. आपको कोई 2A देखना नहीं है, आपको क्या करना है, बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट में जितनी भी आपकी आईटीसी एलिजिबल क्रेडिट है दैट यू कैन टेक इट फर्दर, दैट मींस हमें वही करना है, तो लॉ सेज नो, then what they are saying that आपको सितंबर 2020 में आपको एग्रीगेट अमाउंट निकालनी है from February 20 to August 2020, and if you have taken any excess credit then in that respect that excess credit has to be reversed by filing the return for the month of September 2020. वो टाइम पे करना है. Now let's see the calculation so that we can have a better understanding, right? So this is the working. It says in the month of February 2020 my eligible ITC as per books of account is 10,000. My inward supplies reflected in GSTR 2A was 6,000 rupees. So as per this revenue relaxation provision, I am eligible to take the credit of 10,000 as per my books of account instead of 6,000 rupees. So मेरे को फरवरी से अगस्त तक का मुझे टोटल लेना है, क्रेडिट लेना है as per books of account. So 1,05,000 is as per my books of account. I have availed the credit and discharged the tax liability. However, as per my GSTR 2A, I am eligible only to the extent of 68,200 rupees. So now how much amount I have to reverse it in while filing the return for the month of September 2020? Let's see the working. Working मैंने बनाया है क्या है? Let's see. ITC claimed as per GSTR 3B for the month February 20 to August 20 हमने देखा 1,05,000 है. Eligible ITC as per my GSTR 2A for the period February to August 2020 68,200 वो 2A में दिख रहा है. So now how much I am eligible? 110% of my eligible ITC. That means 68,200 plus 10%, that is 6,820. So 68,200 plus 6,820, which comes to 75,020. So in the month of September 20, I am eligible for a credit of ITC of 75,020. How much I have already utilized? 1,05,000. So difference naturally I have to reverse it. How much I have to reverse? ITC to be reversed in 3B, E minus D. So it comes to 29,980. So in the month of September, while filing the return for the month of September 2020, I have to reverse the credit to the extent of 29,980. However, from the month of September 2020, I am eligible to avail the ITC as per the GSTR 2A. That means as per Rule 36(4). I cannot then take on this thing. So this is how we have to do the calculation. So one more calculation for all of us. अपने को फरवरी से अगस्त तक का ट्रैक रखना है. How much ITC is per books of account? What was the eligible ITC is per 2A? और उसको फिर हमें रिवर्स कर देना है. Now the point is कि suppose मैंने सितंबर 20 में रिवर्स नहीं किया क्योंकि मेरे पास तभी भी पैसा नहीं था. Then what would be the situation? Naturally, whenever you will reverse, you have to reverse it with interest. If you say, for example, if you reverse this 29,980 instead of the September 20, you have reversed it in the December 20, then you have to pay the interest for 3 months period and reverse the credit. This reversal of credit can be either through ITC or through by making payment of cash. Now next is the GST amendment. So here relaxation provisions are completed over here. These are the important provisions. Now let us see what are the other amendments which has been announced in the month of April 2020. Very important thing, GST audit. The law provides that every registered person whose account is required, whose aggregate turnover during a financial year exceeds 2 crore rupees, then he has to get his accounts audited. Now, one more proviso has been added that for the financial year 2018-19, it is now provided that if the aggregate turnover during the financial year 18-19 exceeds 5 crore rupees, then only he has to get his accounts audited. So this is one of the major, I would say, drawback from the perspective of a consultant is there, because now अभी 5 crore तक कोई audit नहीं करनी है, so a professional opportunity has gone out to that extent. But from the perspective of the taxpayers, yes, it is a welcome provision that till 5 crore rupees, no audit is there for the year 2018-19. That means they have to only file the form GSTR 9 annual return ही file करना है. Now देखते हैं due date of filing of the audit report. Previously the due date has been for the financial year 18-19, due date was 31st March 2020. However, this due date has been extended now till 30th June 2020 by way of a notification number 15/2020 dated 23rd March 2020. See the thing that on 23rd March 20 they have on 20th March 2020, our finance minister Sitaraman was there on the floor, and in the press release she has announced that yes, we will extend the due date, and on 23rd March the notification of extension has come, that this due date would be extended till 30th June 2020. That is a very good thing. So यहाँ हमें annual return GSTR 9 and 9C for the financial year 18-19 have to be filed by not before 30th June 2020. I am sure ये जो 30 दिन का लॉकडाउन था उसमें आप सभी लोगों ने घर पे बैठ के 9 और 9C का कंपाइलेशन रेडी कर लिया रहेगा, so that once this lockdown is out, we all will file the returns very easily. Further,
Ashit bhai, we have next lecture of Mayur bhai for the same GST audit only.
GST audit is today only or no?
But Friday.
Acha, Friday. Okay. Very good. Chalo. Then this audit report has to be furnished along with the copy of audited annual accounts and reconciliation statement duly certified in Form 9C electronically by way of a notification number 16/2020. So this is as regards GSTR audit is concerned. The turnover limit has been enhanced to 5 crore rupees and the due date has been extended till 30th June 2020. Now next is the refund to exporters. Very important thing. ये अभी पैसे के मामला आ गया है. I am taking all the things wherein the cash things are involved. You know that the exporter of goods or services or both are eligible to claim the refund of taxes paid while procuring the goods or services or both. तो उनको जो भी टैक्स उन्होंने पे किया है वो सारे टैक्स उनको वापस मिलेंगे. Now the exporters can export the goods or services in two manner. Number one, either with payment of tax or either without payment of tax. If without payment of tax, that means they have to export the goods under letter of undertaking, which is known as LUT. Okay? Now when they are exporting the goods under LUT, that means whatever the tax credit which is there, which is known as input tax, eligible input tax credit, they are entitled for the refund. Now probably normally if it is a 100% export oriented unit, that means its turnover is wholly export, then 100% of ITC would be eligible as a refund. But suppose if his turnover includes also the domestic turnover or a exempt turnover, then in that respect he is not eligible to claim the full credit, refund of the input tax credit, and therefore they have provided a formula that in which ratio the taxpayers would be eligible to claim the refund of the input tax credit in section 89 subsection 4. Now that they say that what they have defined what do you mean by the value of the zero rated supply, and it has been defined that value of zero rated supply will be the FOB value of the supply of a zero rated supply. Now from 23rd March 2020, now it is now provided the value of zero rated supply of goods would be equal to FOB value of zero rated goods or the value which is 1.5 times the value of like goods domestically supplied by the same or similarly placed supplier as declared by the supplier, whichever is less. That means हमें क्या करना है, जो हमने एक्सपोर्ट किया है गुड्स का, से फॉर एग्जांपल 10 लाख रुपीस का, वो हमें कंपेयर करना है कि वही सेम गुड्स डोमेस्टिक सप्लायर कौन से प्राइस में सप्लाई कर रहा है इन डोमेस्टिकली, और my other supplier who is my competitor who is supplying at what price, and that price should not be more than 150%. Otherwise I have to compare three prices, and whichever is lower, that would be substituted as a FOB value. Now I know that it would be very difficult to understand in this manner, and therefore I have given you the computation how you have to compute it. Now on the left hand side, first is the refund calculation prior to 23rd March 2020. That means before the introduction of this provision. Now suppose this is in respect of a taxpayer whose total turnover is 1 crore 50 lakhs rupees. Yeah, उनका export turnover है 90 lakhs rupees and local turnover है 60 lakhs rupees. So naturally his ratio is 60% and 40%. 60% is export turnover and local turnover is 40%. So naturally, he will not able to claim the full ITC. ITC here is 16,20,000. He cannot get 16,20,000 as a refund because उनका domestic turnover भी है. So now how to calculate the refund? So law says net ITC into turnover of zero rated supply divided by the adjusted total turnover. So FOB value of zero rated supply under LUT is 90 lakhs rupees is export turnover. Value of domestic supply by exporter is 60 lakhs rupees. So I have to do net ITC 16,20,000 multiply by zero rated value 90 lakhs divide by 1 crore 50 lakhs rupees. That means in short, I am eligible, the taxpayer is eligible to get the refund of 60% of 16,20,000, which comes to 9,72,000. He is eligible to refund of 9,72,000. Now considering the same scenario after 23rd March 2020, अगर यही similar position 23rd March 2020 से होती तो क्या होता? So now here what we have to compare? We have to compare the three prices. What prices? First one is the FOB value of zero rated supply under LUT, which is 90 lakhs rupees. Then value of domestic supply by exporter. यहाँ भी आप देखेंगे कि 15,000 यूनिट उन्होंने 60 लाख में बेचा है, और जो एक्सपोर्ट किया है 15,000 यूनिट वो 90 lakhs में एक्सपोर्ट किया है. तो यहाँ 60 lakhs का मुझे क्या बताया 150%, तो वो इक्वल टू 90 lakhs होता है. सो आई एम सेफ. सो वो 90 lakhs मैंने लिया. 60 lakhs का 1.5 टाइम्स, सो 90 lakhs रुपीस. नाउ माय डोमेस्टिक सप्लायर, जो दूसरा मेरा एक्सपोर्टर है, जो सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ गुड्स एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा है, डोमेस्टिकली बेच रहा है, वो क्या प्राइस में सेल कर रहा है? तो आई हैव टू टेक दैट ही इज सेलिंग एट 50 lakhs ओनली. तो मुझे 50 lakhs का 1.5 टाइम्स करना है, which comes to 75 lakhs. Now what I have to do? I have to say which is the my FOB value of the export would be lowest of the three. What is the lowest of the three? 75 lakhs rupees. So 75 rupees I have to substitute as a turnover of zero rated supply. So now we have to put it in the formula. So 16,20,000 multiply by 75 lakhs, my zero rated supply. Previously it was 90 lakhs, अभी वो 75 lakhs हो गया, divide by adjusted total turnover which is 1 crore 50 lakhs. So my maximum refund would be 8,10,000. देखा आपने कहाँ 9,72,000 और कहाँ 8,10,000, सीधा 1,62,000 रुपीस का डिफरेंस आ गया. So now this is the new provision which is applicable for 23rd March 20. So this provision would be applicable only in respect of those exporter who is supplying the goods under LUT. So those tax exporter who is supplying under payment of tax, उनको ये applicable नहीं है. सबसे पहला point बराबर है. So now we have we have to advise our client that you export the goods with payment of tax only, then only it would be advantageous. Otherwise ये आपका problem हो जाएगा. Second, this is applicable only to exporter who is supplying the goods to outside India as well as within India. तो ये provision applicable होगा, otherwise नहीं हो जाएगा. ठीक है. Now whether can you say that the exporter is only 100% exporter? तो question is no. Locally भी आ सकता है, जैसे if he sells the license within India, हाँ उसको जो DPP license या scripts मिलती है, he can sell the assets in India. Then in that respect immediately this calculation will trigger and आपका refund कम से कम होते जाएगा, though it may not be directly linked to your export. Now the example which I have given, suppose if he is having a local turnover of sale of license or a sale of asset in India, then that has nothing to do with the ITC for the export, or then also because of this formula lacuna, there is a reduction in the ITC and usko IT in a refund kam milega. So this is the problematic thing. One more thing. Now the thing is, who will decide that what is the price which has been charged by the other supplier? Now suppose if I am supplying only in international market, only I am exporting, I don't have the local supply, so मेरे पास data नहीं रहेगा. Then at the time of filing application, whether do I have to give the data for my other supplier? No obvious reply. Why should I give it? Then what will happen? At present, nothing is known how the refund application has to be filed, and at the time of giving refund, probably the assessing officer will say that this is the price which has been charged by the other supplier, so I will restrict your credit. So this kind of provision will give the way open for all the officers to behave in their own manner. That means यहाँ उन्होंने उनकी खुद की मनमानी करने के लिए गेट ओपन कर दिए हैं, so that they will do the things in their own manner. Because उनको क्या है, उनको तो खाली substitute करना है, because it is very difficult to derive that like goods. आज मैं जो गुड्स बेच कर रहा हूँ और जो सर्विसेज एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा हूँ, may not be necessary that Hiral or Sejal will export the same kinds of goods or services. It will be too subjective thing. So we have to live with this situation. I am sure that somebody would challenge before there's such kind of provisions before the court of law and struck down this kind of provision. I would also request our association that representation should be made for such kind of provision, which is totally not in consonance with the rationality. So this is as far as the refund to exporters are concerned. Then recovery of refund paid to the exporter. Now suppose, now you know that exporters are eligible to claim the input tax credit of taxes paid on procurement of goods or services. We have seen that, yes, he will get the refund. So in my earlier example, suppose if he has received the refund of that 9,72,000 rupees or 8,10,000 rupees, but after receiving of the refund, it has come to know that the money, the goods which has been exported to outside India has not been realized in convertible foreign exchange within India within the time limit prescribed by under the Foreign Exchange Management Act. Under the Foreign Exchange Management Act, 12 months time period has been prescribed. That within 12 months these goods has to come back. The realization of the export of goods has to come back. Otherwise, that would not be tantamount to export of goods. Now, suppose if within 12 months that realization of export doesn't come, then what will happen? Then the law is provided by inserting Rule 96B with effect from 23rd March 20, that in such a situation, if an exporter doesn't get the realization of his export, and if he has already get the refund of export input tax credit, then in such a situation, they have to refund the money of refund the money which has been given to them by the department, along with the within 3 months from the date, or within the 30 days of the time limit prescribed under FEMA. That means if the money has not been received, say till 12 months, then in that respect he has to refund it within 30 days. That means दूसरे एक महीने के अंदर 13 months में उसे refund कर देना है पैसा. If he doesn't able to refund the money within 13 months, then the interest will be chargeable to him at the rate of 18%, and the money would be recovered within in accordance with section 73 recovery procedure as pronounced in section 73 and 74 of the act. It further provides that if the sale proceeds or any part thereof is not realized within the stipulated time frame prescribed under FEMA, but the Reserve Bank of India has right of the requirement of realization of sale proceeds on the merits, then the ITC refund amount would not be recovered from such exporter. Now कहते हैं कि अगर suppose RBI ने permit कर दिया है कि due to some reason you are allowed to write off that money, then in that respect the refund which has been given to the exporter, it would not be recovered from him. अब ये तो पैसा तो गवर्नमेंट ने वापस ले लिया, ठीक है. Now after say 24 months, 12 महीने के अंदर तो मुझे रिफंड कर देना था, 12 महीने तक नहीं आएगा, मुझे रिफंड कर देना था. Now after due follow up with the client, after on 24th month, from the date of export of goods, I have recovered the money. So if I have recovered the money from my customer, then within 3 months I have to intimate it to the department, okay, sir, this is the money which I have recovered. So now please refund back me the money which we have paid it back to you. तो आपको वापस amount मिल जाएगी. However, this realization of export should be within the extended time period permitted by the RBI. तो अगर RBI ने ये permit किया है तो वहां तक की टाइम लिमिट तक आपको प्रोविजन मिलेगा. So this is as regards the recovery of refund. If the refund has been paid to the government, and if later on this has been realized, then the similar amount would be refunded to the exporter. That means this refund of the export of goods has to be there. So somebody was asking me that in the GST law, when in the definition of export of goods, the receipt of money in convertible foreign exchange is not there. So how come now they say over here? So here the important thing is that in order to claim the refund, this provision is applicable and not for the purpose of normal rules which is applicable under the FEMA or the RBI Act. And in the export of service, you will find that one of the condition is that the payment has to be received in convertible foreign exchange in India. Such kind of condition is missing in respect of export of goods. But the only thing in my view that why that condition is not that how the authority will be able to understand that when the goods has been exported. When the goods are exported, you have a proof of the bill of entry or a bill of exchange bill bill of entry is with you. But in respect of export of services, no such documents are there, and that is why the condition of payment of realization in convertible foreign exchange in respect of export of service is there, and which is not there in export of goods. Another very important provision which has come just yesterday, which is interhead adjustment of tax, which is very much required, and everyone was quite awaiting of such provision. Now what was happening? That if any person has discharged the tax liability, so यहाँ GST में क्या है? If suppose I wanted to discharge the tax liability, then while filling up the challan, I have to select that in which head I have to pay this much amount. So there the box has been provided under CGST, SGST, IGST, says interest or penalty. I have to identify it. Now suppose at the time of making the payment of tax, instead of making payment under CGST, I have deposit the tax under SAYS. Many of that taxpayer have come across have committed such mistakes in the initial period of the GST. They have deposited the amount under the SAYS, not under the CGST. Now in such a situation, what was happening? That this amount which is deposited in SAYS cannot be adjusted for making payment of tax under CGST or any other head. So that was creating a problem. So only the option which was left for the SSC is to claim the refund of tax. And you know that to claim the amount of refund of tax from the government is very difficult. And therefore, there was a proposal from the taxpayers that there has to be a system which system or a mechanism so that this interhead adjustment can be possible. So now the government has introduced the subsection 10 in section 49, which says that a registered person may on the common portal, that is on GSTN portal, transfer any amount of tax, interest, penalty or fees or any other amount available in their electronic cash ledger under this act to the electronic cash ledger of IGST, CGST, SGST, UTGST or SAYS in such form and manner as may be prescribed. So that means it provides 4910 provides, which has been inserted from 1st April 2020 by notification number 1/2020. What it says that अभी suppose आपने कोई payment कर दिया है SES में जो जाना चाहिए CGST में, then whatever amount which is there in SES account, you can very easily transfer it to the CGST account. How you will transfer or adjust? They say you have to file by as per rule 87, and rule 87 subsection sub rule 13 provide that you can transfer it by filing form EMT 09. The form is over here. I will come to that. And this has been inserted this rule by notification number 31/2019. So very interesting thing, subsection 10 of section 49 was incorporated by the Finance Act 2019, which has been become an act on 1st August 2019. However, certain provisions were not applicable from that date, and it has been said that it would be notified at a later date. Now, this provision of this section 49 has been approved or notified on 1st January 2020. That yes, now this is notified. I don't understand why such long time. Literally today morning I was trying to find it out that from where this power or it has come out. PMT 9 is there. If we see the GST Act, it says this provision is applicable from the date to be notified. At that I was searching that whether in the month of August that has been notified, September, October, November, December 19, I was not able to get it. Then in the 2020, I could see that first notification was of that date, and there wherein they have given the assent that this section has been notified from 1st January 2020. So now coming to the rule 8713, whether this rule, if we go to the notification number 31/2019, which was which was dated 20th June 19, there it has been said that this rule would be applicable from the date to be notified. Yet this date is not notified, and yesterday this PMT 09 was there on the GSTN portal, and which is allowing the taxpayers to offset the tax liability. That means interhead adjustment is possible right now also. So that means by law PMT 09 is still not there because it has not been notified. So I will always try to say in my all lectures that there we have in our country two laws are there. One is the GST law, which has been passed by and given assent by the parliament or a president. Another law is a GSTN law. This GSTN law is such that which is one more step ahead than the act. एक्ट में अभी तक वो पास नहीं हुआ है, यहाँ GSTN ने वो रूल एप्लीकेबल भी कर दिया है. This is the hierarchy or irony of life that rules यहाँ तक notify नहीं किए हैं और GSTN has gone ahead. So that's why I always say there are two rules. And further, if you wanted to give the advice or fight the law, you have to read the act or rules, GST Act or rules. If you want to file the return or to comply the law, you have to only follow the GSTN. You cannot club both the things. If you club both the things, you will be messed up. So it is request to follow that whenever you are filing 9, don't see whether it is the rule is there or not there. You just do it and enjoy it. Right now, this PMT 09. Every taxpayer can file the PMT 9 and it can be accessed via GSTN portal. Once it is successfully deployed, the GST portal. When the payment is made under wrong head, it can be changed later on. But once the changes has been done before utilization of the amount, that means once the amount is utilized, that means suppose आपने सेस से लेके CGST में amount transfer कर दिया and आपने 3BB file कर दिया, amount utilize कर दिया, then after utilization you cannot do anything, right? So only interhead adjustment is possible before the amount is utilized. This is the format of the PMT 09. This is the major head. This is the minor head. Major head में क्या आता है? CGST, SGST, UTGST, IGST and cess. Minor head, tax, interest, penalty, fees or any other amount. So क्या है? Amount to be transferred from. You have to say this. Where it has to be transferred, you have to select और पैसा आपका transfer हो जाएगा. It is just like a bank account, from one account to another account it is transferred. So this is as regards interhead adjustment. So this is a very long demand which was pending, has been ultimately came out. Next very important thing is about the method of authentication. Now you know that every document which has to be uploaded on the GSTN portal has to be properly authenticated. Authenticated means it has to be signed or approved. Now at present, the authentication in respect of the taxpayers who are proprietor or an individual or a partnership firm, it is authorized by way of an EVC, that which is known as electronic verification code. That means OTP would be generated. It will go into the mobile of the authorized person, and once that OTP is put into that document, then that document would be authorized and can be uploaded. And in respect of a corporate entity, or a LLP, it has to be authenticated by way of a digital signature. Without it, you cannot upload the document. Now, because of this COVID position, the representation has been made by our association. And they have said that now in these companies and LLPs, this digital DSC using of DSC should be waived off, because this DSC may be kept in the offices and the offices are locked down. So how to comply the law? And therefore our association has represented and they've heard it, and now they've yesterday only the message has come that yes, now you can upload the document in respect of all categories of person by way of this EVC. That means now even returns GST and 3B returns can be uploaded without using the DSC in respect of corporate entities and LLPs. However, in respect of other returns and documents, yet it is not operationalized, but I am sure that in near future it would be operationalized. I would like to thank our President Dinesh Tambe over here for making a very timely representation to the council, and they have made this provision. So my compliment to our President. Last provision is to the refund to the exporter. Now this refund to the exporter is from the perspective of the exporters who are exporting the goods by payment of tax. By payment of tax means the payment of tax can be through by utilizing the input tax credit, which is unutilized in their in electronic credit ledger, or by utilizing the amount unutilized in their electronic cash ledger. से आप आपका IGST भर सकते हैं. Now all the exporters have to file their return, that is GSTR 1 and 3B, and uploaded this onto the GSTN portal. So what GSTN portal will do? GSTN portal will pass this detail or migrate this document to the customs department for the release of the taxes which has been paid at the time of export of goods. Now, while filing this GSTR 1 and 3B, many exporters are committing errors while filing the returns. Most important default mistake is the FOB value. In the books of account, they will take the FOB value based on the RBI rate, but in the shipping bill, it is recorded at the customs notified rate, so there won't be a matching of the value. Right? So therefore, their returns would be stuck up and their refunds are not released, and therefore they are finding it very much difficulty. Still, there are so many exporters whose invoices are not matching, and the portal, the system of the customs department is such that unless and until there is a matching of everything, their refund will not be issued, and therefore there is a problem if the wrong data has been provided. So if the wrong ship number or number has been provided, then if that wrong shipping bill number has been provided, then an error is come, and that error is known as a SB005 error. Right? Now, this SB0, unless and until exporter amend this SB005 error, one cannot get the refund. And therefore, now due to this COVID, now the relaxation has been provided, and it has been said that now the exporters can file all their shipping bill invoices up to 31st December 2019 before the custom authority. They can rectify it, and therefore their refunds can be released at an early date. This has been notified yesterday by issuance of circular number 22/2020 under customs, dated 21st April 2020. So this is again a welcome provision which has been done by the customs department, so that the refunds mechanism would be faster and the blockage of money which has been faced by the exporters would be eased out to a great extent. So this all are the provisions which were there, which I thought I must share with all of you within the allotted time which has been given to me. So now if any questions, online questions are there, I am welcome to that questions. Hello? Hello? Hiral, any questions?
Hello. Yeah, Ashit bhai.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have lots of questions for you.
Oh,
Uh,
so I am not
uh,
clear in my thought.
no, sir. The first one is from Vijay by Vijay Shroff.
Hmm.
Whether newly inserted rule 96B introduced by notification dated 23 3 2020 is retrospective or prospective, that is applicable to refund application filed for exports which are actually made on or after 23rd March.
Correct. So very interesting query. I forgot to cover up that in my talk. Thank you, Vijay Bhai, for raising this query. Now, this is a procedural law. The law says that this would be applicable from 23rd March 2020. So a question will come up that suppose if my export, which has been taken, say, in the month of 23rd August 2020, naturally I have not filed my refund application, and naturally I will file my refund application after this introduction of the provision of 23rd March 2020. Then what will happen, whether the same will be applicable? In my personal view, all the exports which has been taken place after 23rd March 2020, only to them this provision would be applicable, and not to the refund application which has been filed for the export which has already been made prior to that date. Otherwise, what will happen, that always the law which was there at the time of export should be there. So at the time of export in the month of August 2019, but the law says that yes, I am eligible to the whole refund, then I should able to get that refund. Though this provision, so that it is beneficial to the SSE. But I am sure the department will come out with clarification that what will be applicable. But if you say that the department perspective, department will always see that any application which has been received after 23rd March 2020, though it may relate it to export which has been done before that date, we will not entertain. But in my personal view, all export which has been done after 23rd March 2020, that would be applicable.
Uh, Arpit Jain has a query. Does time limit, does time period of 180 days also stand extended for reversal of credit if the same is falling between 20th of March and 20th of June?
So now, Archit, you have to tell me whether is there any compliance problem, or from the perspective of the taxpayer. Because what if we see the definition, notification number 35, 45, again I will go to that 35. Let's read it, whether it will cover that or not. Any completion or compliance by any authority or by any which falls during the period from 20th March to 20th. So is there any compliance which needs to be done as far as the reversal is there? There is no compliance which is required. This is only the provision which is there in the books of account. And the payment of tax would be at the time when you file your return, your outward tax liability. So at that point of time, you have to do it. So how it will be extended? I don't think so. It will be extended.
Great, sir. Then, one second. Arun Agarwal ji has a query. Whether turnover limit for filing of annual return for financial year 18-19 is still 2 crores?
Whether for, yes, that limit is same 2 crore rupees for filing annual return. There is no
Uh,
change. Only in respect of audit, the limit has been enhanced from 2 crore to 5 crore rupees.
okay. Tax paid on 2nd May 2020 for March, but return filed on 20th May 20. Whether interest applicable?
So first of all, you have to tell me under which category that person is covered. See, I have told you that above 5 crores, interest would be applicable. On my slide number, wait. Yes, this slide. If it is above 5 crores, relaxation in interest is there. So if his turnover is 5 crore, and if he is falling in this example, I have given the example also. Then accordingly the interest relaxation would be provided. Suppose if the turnover is between this 1.5 crore and not more than 5 crore, then there is a total waiver of interest. There is no interest if you file by this due date. So he has to first of all see what kind of taxable person he is and where he is falling. Then the relaxation of interest and late filing fees can be determined.
Great, sir.
You
Arun
can refer
Agrawal.
to this slide. Now, slide number 3, 4. No, not 3, 4. I don't see the given the slide number, but you can refer to this slide and you will be able to understand.
Whether cooperative housing society not carrying any business have to pay GST on reverse charge on advocate fees? Kindly guide about the same for public charitable trust also. Arun Agarwal ji has this query.
Section 25 says that in respect of those, if any person is required to discharge tax liability under reverse charge, then they have to obtain the registration. Now, only the relaxation is provided in the notification in respect of an advocate that if it is not a business entity, then in that respect, the limit of 10 lakhs rupees is there or 20 lakh. Then in that case, the exemption has been provided and no tax needs to be payable under the reverse charge mechanism.
Okay.
So if it is not a business entity, then tax need not be payable under reverse charge mechanism.
Okay. Arun Agarwal ji has another query. No late fees is being levied till date for filing of form number 1. Will this be recovered in future for late filing done for 2018 and 2019?
If I would be the Prime Minister and Finance Minister, I would definitely waive it. I don't know. In the law, it has been provided that yes, late fees is leviable. However, the GSTN is not levied. That is a different matter. So that's what I have told you. That there are two laws, parallel laws, which are working. One is the GST Act and rules, which says that there is a late filing fee. But if we see the practicality of filing of GSTI and they doesn't ask for the late fees as it is required under fourth filing 3B. So that's why one fine day they will issue such notices. See, in respect of leaving the interest, till now the portal says that if interest is paid, you file it, you pay it, but they were not insisting. Now, after 2 years period of time, all of us have received the notices that you have not paid the interest, so please pay the interest, right? So one fine day they will also wake it up when they will need the money. कि भाई चलो इसका भी interest भर दो. Sorry, late filing fees भर दो.
Abhishek Kakaria ji had a query. Is ITC 03 required to file for service providers?
ITC 03 is in respect of that. That means he is under the specialized scheme, concessional scheme of 6%, I believe. If he's because normal composition scheme is not available for the service provider, right? So if he is under a reduced rate of tax, then the provisions of the composition scheme will be applicable, and even he has to reverse the credit and file the ITC 03.
Arun Agarwal again. Our client, an engineer registered under GST since 2018, has become a non-resident now and is continuing his business in India. Do we have to change the returns now to GSTR 5?
How can he do the business being a non-resident? Can he do that? I have my doubt. How he will run the business, proprietorship business? First,
Okay, we'll get some
because
clarification.
normally, and friends, my request would be please stick to the whatever the discussion what we have discussed today. The query should be related to that. If
Okay.
any other query is there, we will take it offline because the GST law is very huge, right? So my request, earnest request is this. Now coming to this non-resident, let us read who is non-resident. Non-resident taxable person means any person who occasionally undertake transactions involving supply of goods or services or both, whether as a principal or agent in any other capacity, but who has no fixed place of business or residence in India. Now that means he is not a non-resident person. Now, from the definition also, he says he is regularly doing business in India, so he will not cover under this definition. He is probably mixing, sir, you are mixing two things under income taxes as well as under GST. So first, my request is to read the definition which is provided for the non-resident person, and then you will be able to get your reply.
We skip the other query and come down to Hiren Dayoraji. Whether date of filing GST refund application for financial year 17-18 is also extended? If yes, then what is the new due date?
The section 54 says that you have to file the refund application within 2 years. So 17-18 means 30. You have to calculate that which invoices he is trying to get the credit, right? So that means presuming his invoice due date after 22nd March 2018, which for complete 2 years on 22nd March 2020. So only that much invoices time limit would be extended, but not in respect of other invoices which were prior to 22nd March 2018. So he cannot say that full 2017-18 का refund application के लिए मेरी date extend हो गई.
Okay. With respect to rule 36.4, where my supplier is filing return on quarterly basis, then how can I take credit for the same? Premal Bakshi.
That means
36.4
आपको
can be avoid, sir? With your
no,
control?
fine. That's not an issue. See, आपको क्या होगा, यहाँ जो आपकी GSTR 2 में है, वो आपको दिखेगी 3 महीने के बाद 4th month में दिखेगी, तो तभी आपको क्रेडिट मिलेगी. तो दैट मीन्स फेब्रुआरी का सब आपका मार्च का है क्वार्टरली रिटर्न का, ही विल फाइल द रिटर्न इन अप्रैल, तो आपको अप्रैल मंथ में दिखेगा. ओनली द प्रॉब्लम विल कम कि जो जून में जिसको रिटर्न भरना है, तो आपका तो जून क्वार्टर एंडेड जून है, उनकी सॉरी क्वार्टर एंडेड सितंबर है, उसकी रिटर्न जाएगी अक्टूबर में, वो आपको जुलाई और अगस्त का दिखेगा नहीं आपको, तो उतना देर तक यू हैव टू वेट इट, यू डोंट हैव चॉइस.
I'm taking the leaving out the queries which are not related to the subject proper. Sukumar Bisuji has a query. Sir, with payment of GST exports, in that case, focus sales is exempted on the turnover with
Which sale is exempted?
Export in the case of focus sale is exempted.
What do you mean by focus sale?
Focus sale.
Can you ask that person to raise mic?
Okay, I'll take the clarification later in a while. Sir.
Yeah.
If export under LUT plus domestic sales are there and full ITC is adjusted against local GST payable, why to apply the how to apply the new formula when I don't seek any refund? Why?
Then you need not have to apply. This formula has to be applicable only if you wanted to have the refund. If you don't seek refund, then why to apply? Naturally, na? See, you want refund of money only if you have money in your electronic credit ledger. If you are in your electronic credit ledger, there is no money which is lying. Then how can you get the credit? So there is no need to apply for the refund also.
Okay. Sir, then Gurdeep Singh Bagaji has a query. Sir, as per interhead adjustment of tax, section 49 can be transferred for late fee of CGST to tax of CGST or SGST?
Yes, all kind of inter-adjustment can be done. So that's what in the, if you see the form over here, just a sec. It says that any major head is CGST, SGST, UTGST, IGST, and cess. And minor head are tax, interest, penalty, or any other amount. So you can adjust any amount. Say for example, central tax key fees have 5,000 rupees, and if it is there in your cash ledger, that you can adjust it against the state GST ka tax easily. You can transfer it. There is no issue.
Okay. What is the due date for filing GSTR 3B for March 2020 for entity having turnover greater than 5 crores?
Okay, that sheet is there. Let's again see. So here we are. Taxpayers having aggregate turnover of INR 5 crore for the month of March 20, right?
Yes, sir.
Here, March 20, the due date is 20th April 2020. Relaxation in interest is provided if he is filing the return before 24th June 2020. Right now here I have given you the date wise chart also, that suppose for the month of March 20, when he is filing at what point of time? Hello?
Yeah, after the period.
After means 30th June. Presuming he is
Yes.
filing on 30th June, then he has to pay the normal rate of interest because he has not complied with the relaxation provision of interest. For 7, suppose if after the due date means, suppose he have filed on 30th June, so my due date is 24th June, so that means he has not filed it, so उससे पूरा interest लगेगा 18% का, कहाँ से? 21st April 2020, because last date was 20th April, 21st April to 24th 30th June 2020, and no waiver of late fees.
Okay. Can we transfer any balance of cash ledger through PMT 09, or we need to transfer challan wise?
No, any amount, no. See, the now whatever amount which is there in your electronic cash ledger, that you can transfer. There is no need to then to bifurcate challan wise, because now everything is hodgepodge. Now suppose if you have 10,000 rupees in your electronic cash ledger in your say SES account, which you have deposited in 10 different installment. Now you wanted to transfer that 10,000 rupees in 10 to this, say for example CGST account. So in one way, by filling PMT 09, you can transfer 10,000 rupees. Why there is a problem? I don't foresee any problem over there. Here.
We'll take a last question by Yogesh Gokhale ji. The due date for TDS is extended till 30th June 2020, but
Correct.
other due dates are before 30th June 2020. Looks it's not logical. How come? How to come over it as funds are blocked?
Other due date means TDS return का due date सबका 30th June ही है. March, April and May. There are no other changes, no?
Okay, but other due dates are before. No, all are at 30th June only. Maybe
Other
some
due date means GSTR 3B or GSTR 1 he is talking?
that is not known, sir.
Because the query is not clear. Now see, the logic is, I understand, he must be referring a 3B की date है, एक की 24 June है, 26 June है, वहाँ 30th June नहीं है. So that's why I have clarified that this law says that there is no extension of due date, only relaxation in interest and late filing fees has been provided. As far as the TDS is concerned, here the law is very clear that if you have deducted the tax, तो आपको तो दूसरा कुछ comply करना नहीं है, आप घर में बैठ के भी payment कर सकते हैं. Then why there is a problem? So they say that their due date would be 30th June and you ये कर दीजिए payment. In the same way is in respect of TCS also, and this आपका due date is extended till 30th June. There is no problem.
Fine, sir. Thank you, Arshad bhai, for the lecture. Now, I would
before concluding, let me say that whatever this presentation which I have made today, there could be a thing that it has a validity period, as we know. Validity is only till 6 o'clock today. It may so happen that GST law is very dynamic law. The rules or changes are so fast that moment we close down over here, something new clarification will come up. So my request to all of you, though I have tried to clarify and take the latest thing, but if the law changes, then naturally my view will also change. Another caveat which I would like to make, that this is as per the views which as per my view. This view is as of today. Because of the dynamics of the law, it may be changed because it's very dynamic. So then also I will say that this has a validity period. And lastly, as my slide states, that the kids will love sales tax, the old sales tax law. Men's loves the service tax, and only the legions love the GST, because the manner in which the GST law has been drafted is such that only the legions can be able to understand the law, practice the law, and preach the law. And with this, and by doing this GST, complying the GST law, one should not leave the normal life. One has to take time out of for the family, so that you would not be stressed out. And lastly, my sincere thanks to the organizers and GSTPM for allowing me to share my view on this on the GST on today's lecture. And thank you to all of you for the allowing me to share my view on this topic. Thank you very much.
Our honorary treasurer Shri Alok Mehta would have a few words. Alok, over to you. Unmute yourself, please. Alok, unmute yourself. Please.
Hello, I'm audible. I'm audible now.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ashik Bhai, for such an excellent presentation as usual, and we are really very happy to see you to gain the knowledge from you. Dear participant, we have extended the webinar limit, the attendee limit, from 100 to more than 500. So now many people can join the webinar today. We found that more than 330 members have attended this webinar, and it was very really today just now also nearly 270 attendees are still there. So please take the benefit of our webinar in the near future. Now the coming topic, I'll just tell you that coming topic will be the the next webinar will be on 24th April, Friday, and the topic will be the practical aspect of GST annual returns, GSTR 9, and GST audit 9C by CA Mayur Parekh. And on 1st May also we have organized a webinar on the impact of COVID on the presentation of financial statement by CA Premal Gandhi. So I request all of you or attendee to take the benefit of the webinar and gain the knowledge in the lockdown period. Again, thank you, Hiral Shah, Sejal Shah, the entire committee of the IT committee, and also President Dinesh Tamre and the Chairman Pankaj Bhai Parekh. I now request Mahesh Bafna ji, our committee member, to kindly propose the well-deserved vote of thanks to CA Ashik Shah.
हेलो
हाँ महेश जी
आ रही आवाज सर
हाँ जी
sir thanks Hiral bhai on behalf of GSTPM I am thankful to CA Ashik Bhai Shah who had explained the recent amendments under the GST Act including the due dates and recent amendments in GST in a simple and lucid manner. I also thanks to our panelists CA Pankaj Bhai Parekh and Alok Bhai Mehta, and last not the least the success of the webinar to Mr. Hiral Shah and our president for giving such a wonderful webinar session. Thanks to Sri Ashik Bhai once again. Thanks.
Thank you, Mahesh. Mahesh is from Dhulia. Now people will come to know.
Thank you, Mahesh. Now we will
Thanks to all of you. Thanks, Ashik.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Bye. See you.
Thanks, Hiral.
Hi, Hiral.